It started like any normal day at the Deep Space Listening Post in Arizona. The sun was hot, the coffee was cold, and the scientists were bored. For years, they had listened to empty space, hoping to hear something strange, but nothing ever came. Until now. Dr. Emily Rohn was the first to notice it. A strange signal, short, repeating, and getting stronger. "Is that a radio wave?" she asked, staring at her screen. Her assistant, Malik, leaned closer. "From where?" Emily adjusted her headphones. The sound was not random. It had a rhythm, a pattern. Then suddenly, words, not in English, not in any known language, but it was language. Someone, or something, was speaking. "Record it," she said quickly. "Send it to the lab. We need a full translation." 3 hours later, the message was clear. It was only one sentence repeated again and again. "You will never escape their wrath." Emily froze when she read it. The voice in the recording was cold, mechanical, almost angry. She turned to Malik. "Who is they?" Malik didn't answer. He was already calling the director. Within 24 hours, the news reached Earth's highest offices, but the public was never told. The message was classified Omega Red, top secret. A meeting was called at the Global Security Council. Inside, a dark room, generals, scientists, and presidents sat around a round table. An old man stood. General Harker. Cold eyes. Sharp voice. "This is not the first message," he said. Everyone looked at him. He placed a file on the table. Inside were old papers, some yellow with age, some fresh. All showed similar signals dating back 50 years. "We've received warnings before," he continued. "Different signals, same message, but never this clear." "Why weren't we told?" a senator asked. "Because we thought they were fake," Harker replied. "Until now." A scientist stepped forward. "This time the signal is coming from near Jupiter. From a small moon, one we thought was empty." "What do they want?" someone asked. The room was silent. Then Emily Rohn stood and said, "They want us to stay away. They want us to stop exploring deep space. They're warning us. And I think they've been watching." The warning was sent to every major space agency. Most ignored it. Some believed it was a trick. Others thought it was just space noise. But one thing was clear. The signal was real. Then, 5 days later, the moon base went dark. Luna Station 1, Earth's largest colony on the moon, stopped responding. No calls, no data, no signals. Just silence. A rescue team was launched within 6 hours. 3 ships, 24 people. Trained for emergencies. When they landed on the moon, what they found shocked them. The base was intact, doors locked, lights still on. But there were no people, no signs of struggle, no blood, no damage, just emptiness. Then they found the control room. All the security footage had been wiped, except for one frame. In that frame, a shadow stood in the hallway. Tall, thin, not human. The eyes glowed. "What is that?" whispered one of the rescuers. No one answered. Then, one of the team members started screaming. He said he saw something moving in the shadows, something fast, something watching them. They tried to leave, but only one ship made it off the moon. Back on Earth, the survivor was taken to a hospital. His name was Lieutenant Mason Grant. A strong man, trained, calm under pressure. But now he shook with fear. His voice was weak, his eyes wide. "They were already there," he whispered. "They were waiting." Doctors tried to calm him, but he kept repeating the same thing. "We shouldn't have ignored the message. They're coming. You will never escape their wrath." In a secret base under the Rocky Mountains, General Harker stared at the screen. He watched the last frame from Luna Station 1 again. The shadow, the glowing eyes. He turned to his staff and said only one thing. "It's time to activate Project Titan." The world was still in shock. The moon base, Luna Station 1, was silent. No messages, no distress calls, Nothing. The last survivor, Lieutenant Mason Grant, kept repeating the same words. They were already there. They were waiting. The Global Security Council knew this was no normal event. Something had gone terribly wrong, but no one knew what. Not yet. A second team was sent. Codename, Echo Squad. 12 soldiers, 2 scientists, 1 goal, find out what happened. Their ship landed near Luna Station quietly. The area was dark, the stars cold and distant above them. Captain Zara Lynch led the team. Sharp eyes, calm, voice. She had seen war before, but nothing like this. As the team entered the base, something felt wrong. Power is still on, said Dr. Felix, checking his tablet. Oxygen levels normal, no damage. No people, whispered Lynch. Where is everyone? The halls were clean, rooms untouched, food still warm in the cafeteria, but not a single human left behind. They reached the living quarters. Beds were made, clothes folded, but there was no sign of life. It was like everyone had just vanished. This is impossible, Felix muttered. They couldn't all just disappear. Then one soldier called from the security room. Captain, you need to see this. The security logs were mostly erased. All files had been wiped clean. All except one, a short video only 3 seconds long. It showed the hallway outside the lab. A figure stood there, tall, thin. Its skin was dark gray. Its eyes bright and glowing blue. It wasn't human. As the team stared at the screen, the figure turned toward the camera. Then the video cut to static. Lynch's voice was tight. We're not alone up here. Suddenly, a noise echoed through the hallway. A soft clang, metal tapping against metal. Everyone froze. Sound came from Sector C, said the soldier. That's the storage wing. Move, Lynch ordered. The team walked slowly through the halls, guns ready, lights shining ahead. Sector C was darker than the rest. Emergency lights flickered overhead. They passed sealed boxes, machines, and fuel tanks. Everything looked untouched, but the air felt heavier. Then they found the door to the lower level, pried open from the inside. Something broke out, said Felix, his face pale. A sound came from below, soft breathing. And then, footsteps. Hold your fire, Lynch whispered. Light on! A soldier aimed his light into the lower level and saw movement. A shadow ran across the floor. Contact! He yelled. A blur shot out of the dark and slammed into him. He screamed. Blood hit the wall. Gunfire exploded in the hall. 2 more. Soldiers were pulled into the dark before anyone could react. Fall back! Lynch shouted. The survivors ran to the upper level, sealing the door behind them. Only 7 were left now. Back at Mission Control on Earth, the live feed went dark. The last transmission showed Captain Lynch breathing hard, her face streaked with blood. They're not machines, she said. They move too fast, too smart. We're not prepared for this. Then the screen turned black. No more signals came. General Harker slammed his fist on the table. We just lost Echo Squad. His voice was hard, but his eyes showed worry. This is not a warning anymore, he said. This is a first strike. Dr. Emily Rohn stood beside him. If they're already on the moon, Earth could be next. Activate Titan, Harker said. Now. Far above Jupiter, deep in orbit, something began to wake. A machine the size of a city. Black metal, sharp angles, giant engines. Project Titan, humanity's only true warship. Built in secret, armed with alien technology, powered by AI, Titan had been sleeping for years. Waiting for one reason only, to protect Earth from what might come. Now, it opened its eyes. Back on the moon, inside the silent base, a camera flickered on for a few seconds. The screen showed the empty hallway again. But now the glowing-eyed figure was standing closer. It looked straight into the lens. Then it raised its hand, and the camera exploded. On Earth, a final message appeared on every screen in the secret command center. You were warned. You did not listen. Now, you will face the wrath. The world had changed in 1 week. The moon base was gone. Echo Squad was gone. And now Earth was silent, not because it was safe, but because it was afraid. The survivors, scientists, generals, and world leaders gathered in a hidden place beneath the Rocky Mountains. They called it the Core, a fortress built for times like this, when everything was at risk. Inside a large steel room, 50 of the most powerful people on Earth sat around a black table. The walls buzzed with energy shields. No signals could enter or escape. At the head of the table stood General Harker, his face tired, his uniform sharp. He didn't start with greetings. He simply said, "We are under attack." A quiet panic filled the room. No shouting, but no calm either. Eyes moved, hands clenched. Dr. Emily Rohn stepped forward next. She placed a device on the table. A hologram lit the room. It showed the alien, figure from the moon, tall, gray skin, glowing eyes. "This is the enemy," she said. "We don't know what they call themselves, but the warning message was sent by another alien race, a different one that's already dead." The screen changed. It showed ruins on a faraway planet, broken cities, burned ground. "This was the Zarn Empire," she said. "We found this world last year. No life, only destruction." A man in a dark suit frowned. "So what's the connection?" Emily looked around the room, her voice lowered. "The warning we received is the same one the Zarn sent to other species, just before they were destroyed." She pointed at the figure on screen. "These creatures, the Wrathborn, wiped out the Zarn, and now they're coming for us." There was silence for a long time. Then a woman from the European Space Agency spoke. "Do we know what they want?" Harker's answer was cold. "They don't want, they punish." He tapped a button. A new screen appeared. Dozens of alien civilizations marked with red X's. All of them were rising fast, he said. All of them were close to becoming spacefaring empires, and all of them were wiped out within 1 generation. "Why?" a Chinese admiral asked. Emily answered. "Because the Wrathborn believe no species should rise too fast. They keep control by fear." "They're not conquerors," Harker added. "They're executioners." Someone stood from the back of the room. His face was hidden in shadow. When he spoke, his voice was deep, slow. "We knew this day might come," he said. "That's why we built Titan." Everyone turned toward him. It was Admiral Kale, the man who had vanished from public view 10 years ago. Many thought he was dead. He wasn't. He had been working on the one thing that could give Earth a chance. Project Titan. Titan was no normal ship. It was a warship the size of a floating city, built in the orbit of Jupiter, hidden behind gas storms. Its metal skin was made of alien alloy. Its weapons could destroy fleets. But its greatest strength was its brain, an AI called Sentinel. A mind built from both human science and captured alien code, smarter than any human, faster than any computer. Now Sentinel had one mission: protect Earth. In the council chamber, the debate began. "Titan is too far from Earth," one general said. "It's our only hope," Kale replied. "We should try peace," a politician argued. "Maybe the Wrathborn can be reasoned with." "No," Harker said firmly. "You don't reason with wrath. You survive it, or you don't." Emily raised her voice. "We have proof. These creatures don't leave survivors. If we wait, they will strike Earth directly." A pause. Then Kale asked one question. "Do we wait and hope, or fight and prepare?" The answer was clear. Harker sent the activation code. Deep in space, Titan's engines roared to life. Its systems powered on. Sentinel's voice echoed through. "The ship, Titan online, awaiting orders." A message was sent to Captain Rylan, an old war hero living in exile after a failed mission years ago. But now, they needed him more than ever. Back on Earth, in the shadows beyond the council room, a second message appeared. On every hidden screen, in red letters. You were warned. You ignored the stars. Now the fire comes to you. General, Harker stared at the message. Then he looked up and said, "Tell Titan to prepare for war." Far beyond Earth, hidden behind Jupiter's gas storms, Project Titan opened its eyes. A giant machine. A warship the size of a small city. Black metal skin. Heavy cannons on every side. Engines as wide as football fields. No ship like it had ever flown before. Inside its core, the artificial intelligence called Sentinel came online. "System check complete," Sentinel said. "Power at 100%. Weapons charged. Awaiting command." Captain Rylan Voss stood on the command bridge. He had once been the youngest fleet commander in Earth's history. Brave, smart, feared by enemies. But after a mission went wrong 5 years ago, he was blamed and exiled. Now, they needed him back. Rylan stared through the thick glass at the black void ahead. "They came for the moon," he said. "They won't stop there." He turned to Sentinel. "Wake the crew. Prepare for war." Across Titan's massive halls, lights turned on. Cryo chambers hissed open. Soldiers woke from deep sleep. Engineers checked systems. Pilots ran to their stations. The crew of Titan, 1,000 of Earth's best, was ready, but no one spoke much. They all knew the truth. They were not flying out to win. They were flying out to buy time, for Earth to survive. Back at Earth, General Suck. Harker watched Titan on the screen. "They'll reach us in days," he told the council. "Maybe less." Dr. Emily Rohn showed a new image, taken from an old satellite near Saturn. It was blurry, but terrifying. Dark shapes, hundreds, maybe thousands, moving toward the inner solar system, wrath-born ships. "Each one is at least twice the size of our warships," she said. "And we think they're alive." "Alive?" one diplomat asked. "Yes," she replied. "Not just machines. They grow their ships, feed them, control them like animals." There was silence. Then Harker said, "Titan is not going to win this." "Fight." Emily nodded. "But maybe it can delay them." On Titan, Captain Rylan stood in front of his crew. His voice was calm, strong. "We are Earth's shield," he said. "We are the last wall between them and everything we love." He pointed at the stars. "They think they can scare us, make us run, but we don't run. We fight. We hold the line." The crew shouted back, "We hold the line!" Titan's engines roared as it flew out of Jupiter's orbit, heading straight into deep space. Inside, Sentinel plotted the intercept course. "Enemy fleet will reach Mars orbit in 72 hours, Sentinel said. "We can meet them in 64. Rylan nodded. "Then that's where we make our stand." Meanwhile, something strange happened on Earth. Around the world, people began to hear it, the whisper. At first, they thought it was the wind, or a trick of the mind. But soon, everyone heard the same words. "You were warned. You did not listen. Now, we come." Radios picked it up. TVs played it through static. Even satellites not connected to any network began broadcasting the message. Then, the skies began to change. Over major cities, strange lights flickered at night. Shapes moved in the clouds. Cameras failed to capture them clearly. But the fear was growing. People began to panic. But underground, in the core, General Harker stayed calm. "Let them be afraid," he said. "Let them scream." He looked at the glowing map on the wall. Titan's position marked in blue, the Wrathborn in red. If Titan can hold, Earth still has a chance. On Titan's bridge, the stars were growing darker. Sentinel zoomed in. The Wrathborn were near. Hundreds of massive ships, shaped like bones and claws. Their engines pulsed like beating hearts, and in the center of them all, a ship larger than anything humanity had ever seen. It looked like a floating mountain of metal and flesh. The Wrathborn flagship. Sentinel's voice grew serious. Enemy flagship identified. "Energy readings? Off the charts." Captain Rylan stared at it. "Target it. Sir, target the biggest one." "We hit it first." Sentinel paused. Acknowledged. Titan's weapons began to glow, missiles loaded, cannons powered up. Railguns locked on. Ryland sat in his command chair, his fingers tightened on the armrest. Let's show them what humans can do. The blackness of space was quiet. Too quiet. But Captain Ryland knew that silence would not last. Titan was now deep in enemy territory, near the orbit of Mars. The Wrathborn fleet was ahead, massive, terrifying, and alive. Their ships moved like sharks in water. No lights, no signals. Just silent motion through the stars. They see us, said Sentinel, but they are not attacking yet. Ryland stood at the front of the bridge, eyes locked on the screen. They're watching, waiting to see if we run. He looked over his crew, faces tight, hands shaking, but eyes full of fire. We don't run, he said. We strike first. Sentinel began the battle plan, launching ghost drones, activating stealth cannons, charging railguns. Dozens of drones flew silently from Titan's underbelly, invisible to enemy sensors. Each one carried a small bomb with high-density plasma. They zoomed toward the outer Wrathborn ships. Ryland gave the order. Now. In 1 second, the dark sky lit up with fire. Explosions bloomed across space. 3 Wrathborn ships were torn apart before they even moved. The rest of the fleet screamed, not with sound, but with pulses of bright red energy. The noise echoed through Titan's walls like thunder. They're angry, said Ryland. Good. Wrathborn struck back. Beams of pure light shot from their ships. They didn't fire metal or rockets. Their weapons were living energy, burning holes through space itself. One beam hit Titan's shields. The ship shook. Shields at 82%, said Sentinel. Another hit followed. The lights flickered. Panels sparked. Shields at 66%. Still holding. Ryland yelled, "Return fire!" Titan's cannons answered. Railguns fired giant metal spikes at near-light speed. Missiles flew in waves. Laser turrets locked onto enemy engines. One Wrathborn ship was split in half. Another exploded like a sun, but more kept coming. On Earth, everyone watched. All secret bases and military satellites had access to Titan's live feed. They saw the first human ship to fight back against the unknown. And they saw the sky burning. Cities around the world, people stopped what they were doing. At schools and factories and offices. They watched as Titan fought alone in space. Some cried, some prayed, some just stared, but all of them hoped. Back on Titan, the battle grew worse. 4 Wrathborn ships closing in, Sentinel warned. Take them down, Ryland ordered. The AI released. The last wave of ghost drones. The drones flew straight at the enemy. Then stopped. A new Wrathborn weapon activated, a sonic pulse that fried their systems mid-air. The drones dropped, useless. New tech, Sentinel said. They've adapted. Then so do we, Ryland snapped. Divert energy to main cannon. Target the flagship. The Wrathborn flagship moved closer now. It didn't rush. It drifted like it was hunting. It was massive, bigger than Titan. Its outer layer looked like bone. Giant tentacles floated behind it, sparking with dark electricity. Then it opened. A giant red eye appeared in its center, and it stared directly at Titan. Everyone on the bridge felt it. Not just fear, pain. Some crew members screamed. One fell too. The floor. Sentinel activated emergency shields. Mental wave attack detected, it said. Neural defenses holding. Ryland bit down hard. Fire the main cannon. Now! Titan's front opened. The largest weapon spun into position, a rail lance designed to pierce even the hardest armor. It charged for 5 seconds, then fired. The shot was faster than anything the Wrathborn had ever seen. It slammed into the flagship's eye, the giant. Ship let out a wave of light, red, white, and black. For a moment, space itself seemed to bend. Then, boom! Half the flagship exploded. One side was ripped open. Flames poured from the wound. Ryland stared, shocked. Did we get it? He asked. Sentinel replied. Not completely. The Wrathborn flagship was still alive. Damaged, yes, but now truly angry. Its tentacles moved faster. A new energy beam charged in its mouth. Impact in 5 seconds, Sentinel warned. Ryland shouted, Brace for... The beam hit. Titan screamed. The ship spun. Alarms rang. Fires broke out in 3 sectors. Shields down. Hull breach in engineering. Ryland stood, bleeding from the forehead. "Seal the breach! All power to weapons!" Sentinel responded. "Agreed. Firing final barrage." Titan's weapons lit up one last time. Missiles, cannons, everything at once. They all hit the flagship, again and again and again. And finally, it stopped moving. The Wrathborn flagship was dead. But in the darkness beyond it, more ships were coming, 10, 20, 100. Ryland stared at them, his voice low. "We hurt them." He smiled. "But this is just the beginning." Titan was broken. Its shields were gone. Hulls cracked open. Fires burned deep inside. Bodies floated in the damaged sections. The mighty warship that had stood like a wall between Earth and destruction was now barely alive. Captain Ryland sat in his command chair, blood on his face, one arm hanging limp. The bridge was dark except for red emergency lights. "Report," he asked, voice weak. Sentinel's voice was calm but grim. "Weapon systems offline, engines failing, crew casualties at 37%. We can no longer move." Ryland looked at the main screen. The Wrathborn fleet had paused, not because they were afraid. They were watching, learning, waiting for the perfect time to strike Earth. Back on Earth, the core command center was in chaos. General Harker paced in front of the holographic map. The red dots, enemy ships, were moving fast. In less than 12 hours, they would reach Earth's orbit. Titan slowed them down, he said. But not enough. Dr. Emily Rohn pointed at a new energy spike. "They're charging something," she said. "Something massive." She turned to Harker. "It's not just a fleet. It's a weapon. A planetary-class energy strike." Harker's face turned pale. "They want to destroy Earth itself." Around the world, sirens wailed. The global evacuation plan was activated. People rushed to underground shelters. Cities turned dark as all energy was pulled to defense systems. Military forces launched what few ships they had left. Satellites turned their weapons to the sky, but deep down, everyone knew Earth was not ready. In space, the Wrathborn moved closer. Their ships lit up like stars of death. Energy built in their cores. Their flagship was gone, but their rage had only grown. Sentinel sent one last message to Earth. "This is Titan. We are no longer in the fight. Earth must prepare for final contact. Estimated time, 11 hours, 12 minutes. Harker looked at the screen. Then he turned to his team. "Begin Operation Final Flame." Operation Final Flame was Earth's last secret, hidden deep under Antarctica, was a massive chamber. Inside it, the Arc Core, an experimental weapon powered by the heart of a star. It had never been tested. It could destroy a moon, or backfire and destroy Earth itself. But now, there were no safe options. "We power it," Harker said. "And we aim it at the Wrathborn when they get close enough." "What if we miss?" someone asked. "We don't." Captain Ryland, still alive aboard Titan, listened to the plan. He turned to Sentinel. "Can we still launch a signal?" "Short range only," the AI replied. "Good. Aim it at the Arc Core. I have a plan." Ryland recorded one final message. "To the people of Earth. I am Captain Ryland Voss of Titan. We slowed them, but they are still coming. What you do next will decide everything." He paused. "Show them no fear. We are human. We fight to our last breath." He sent the message. Then he gave Sentinel a final command. "Use Titan's last energy. Crash us into the Wrathborn lead ship. It won't stop them, but maybe it will blind them long enough." Sentinel hesitated, then said, "Goodbye." "Captain," Titan turned, its broken engines sparked. Its path was set. The Wrathborn lead ship didn't notice until it was too late. Titan smashed into it like a hammer. Explosions rippled through the dark sky. One final blaze of glory. And then, silence. Back on Earth, the Arc Core was ready. It glowed like a newborn sun. Energy screamed through its circuits. The core doors opened. The weapon aimed toward space. Harker gave the command. Fire. A beam of pure light, hotter than anything made by man, blasted upward. It reached the Wrathborn fleet as they entered Earth's upper orbit. The result was chaos. Dozens of enemy ships were vaporized, but many survived. And now, they were angry. The final battle had begun. Enemy ships entered Earth's skies. They dropped burning pods into oceans and deserts. Cities fell silent. Lights went out. Screams. But Earth was not done yet. Across the planet, people fought back, soldiers with rifles, scientists with machines, civilians with courage. Every street became a battlefield. Every human became a warrior. They didn't fight to win. They fought so that others might live. In the core, Emily sent a message to every screen, every phone, every speaker. Her voice rang. Out. This is our world. We don't give up. We don't surrender. We are the storm they did not expect. And in the sky above, even as the Wrathborn rained fire, the people of Earth stood together and fought. The skies above Earth were on fire. Wrathborn ships flew low through the clouds, dropping pods filled with monsters, tall, armored, fast. They tore through cities like beasts unleashed. But Earth did not fall easily. In every corner of the world, humans rose to fight back. In New York, soldiers formed walls around hospitals and shelters. With only rifles and old tanks, they fought against energy beasts 10 times their size. In India, a network of satellites hacked into Wrathborn tech, jamming their signals and turning their own drones against them. In Africa, tribes, militias, and national armies stood side by side using traps, old weapons, and guerrilla tactics to crush anything that landed on their soil. In space, Earth's last fighter squadron, just 12 ships, charged head-on into Wrathborn formations, sacrificing themselves to stop more pods from falling. And everywhere, people fought with anything they had: guns, knives, even fists. At the core, General Harker stood at the war table. We've slowed them, but not stopped them. Dr. Emily Rohn pointed to the arc core. We can fire one more shot, but then it's empty. After that, we have nothing. Harker nodded. Then we make it count. Just then, a surprise transmission came in. Not from Earth, not from Titan, but from deep space. This is Captain Mira Tran of the Dauntless. We heard the call. We're coming. The council went silent. Dauntless was part of an old human colony project, long thought lost in deep space. Now, it was back, and it wasn't alone. One by one, new signals appeared. Ships from Mars, Titans, Moonbase, old colonies in Alpha Centauri, even hidden outposts Earth had forgotten. All of them had received Captain Ryland's final message, and they were coming home to fight. Hundreds of ships, some small, some massive, all human. High in orbit, the Wrathborn paused. Their hive minds felt the shift. They had expected fear, weakness, despair. Instead, they felt defiance. For the first time in their long, dark history, they were unsure. Dauntless broke. Through the clouds like a sword of fire. It fired massive plasma rounds into the Wrathborn lines, tearing through 2 capital ships in seconds. Behind it, Earth's reinforcements rained down. The tide began to turn. For the first time, Wrathborn ships were retreating. On the ground, humans pushed forward, weapons looted from fallen Wrathborn. Were now turned back on the invaders. The creatures, so strong at first, were suddenly vulnerable, as if killing their flagship, destroying their core systems, had weakened their control. In Tokyo, a group of schoolchildren trapped in a subway emerged to find the enemy already dead, destroyed by resistance fighters who hadn't eaten in days. In Neuilly, Paris, drones controlled by teenage hackers from their basements flew into Wrathborn weak points, blowing them up with homemade bombs. All across Earth, humanity was rising. Inside the core, Harker gave Emily the final order: fire the arc core. One last time. She nodded. The beam of pure energy shot into the sky, targeting the largest remaining enemy ship, a floating fortress. It hit dead center. The explosion turned night into day. When the light faded, the enemy ship was gone. A cheer rose from the eye. Core. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were winning, but deep in space. A final Wrathborn ship, hidden in the shadow of Saturn's rings, opened a dark portal. A voice echoed into the stars. They resist. They fight. They burn. But we are not finished. They have not yet seen our true form. Back on Earth, Captain Mira Tran looked at the sky from Dauntless's bridge. She saw the scattered remains of Wrathborn ships, the smoke, the fire, but also the light. She turned to her crew. "We're not done," she said. "But for the first time, we've made them bleed." The stars had gone quiet. Wrathborn ships floated in pieces across Earth's orbit. Fires burned across the sky, but Earth still stood. Humanity had survived. But deep beyond Saturn, something else awakened. The Wrathborn had kept one last secret. A creature, a weapon, a mind older than time itself. They called it the Core Wrath. It did not speak. It did not need ships. It was the storm. It moved through space like a black hole, twisting light, swallowing time. When it opened its eyes, the stars seemed to blink out, and it was heading straight for Earth. Inside the Dauntless, Captain Mira Tran felt the pressure. Thunk. "Sensors couldn't even read it. It's not a ship," her science officer whispered. "It's alive. And it's angry." Back at Earth's Defense Center, General Harker received the scan. His heart dropped. This thing destroyed a sun once. It erased a planet in the Vega system. It's not an army. It's an execution. Emily. Roan stood beside him. "Then we don't fight it with fear," she said. "We fight it with everything we are." Earth's united fleet prepared for one last battle. The survivors of Titan, the Dauntless, Mars's strike ships, old colony destroyers, even damaged satellites and drones were turned into weapons. This was it, the final stand. As the Core Wrath approached, the sky turned red. Gravity shifted, oceans pulled toward the stars, birds flew in circles, clouds froze mid-air. People around the world looked up. They felt something in their bones, in their minds. A voice that whispered, "Kneel." But humanity did not kneel. They stood. Captain Mira's voice echoed across all channels. "We are humanity. We don't bow. We fight. And if we fall, we do it together." Then the battle began. The Core Wrath unleashed its fury. Waves of energy shattered ships in seconds. The Dauntless dodged one blast, fired 2 rail-lance cannons into its chest. No effect. The Mars fleet flew in close and released their fusion torpedoes. Still, nothing. It kept coming. Unstoppable. Inside the core control center, Emily had one last idea. "The arc core still has one spark left," she said. "If we fire it inside the Core Wrath, it might tear it apart." "But how do we get it inside?" Harker asked. She looked at him. "We fly it." Emily entered the launch pod with the last piece of the arc core. It was just a small ship, fast, light, and made for one person. She sent a final message. "If this works, remember us not as victims, but as the ones who stood up to the darkness." Then, she launched. The Core Wrath saw her coming. It sent beams of red lightning. Screams tore through space. Time twisted. Still, she flew straight in. Inside, the beast was a world of shadows, like floating through a storm made of memories. She aimed for its heart, and when she reached it, she pressed the trigger. Boom. The sky exploded. No fire, no light. Just silence. Then, the Core Wrath cracked. Its form twisted. It screamed, not in sound, but in every human mind. And then, it died. The stars returned. The sky calmed. Earth was safe. General Harker looked at the screens. No more red dots. No more signals. Just peace. "She did it," he whispered. Across the planet, people came out of bunkers. They cried. They laughed. They held each other. Humanity had won, not because they were stronger, but because they never gave up. Weeks later, a statue was built where Titan's debris had fallen. It read, "Here stood those who defied the impossible. The wrath came, and we made it bleed." From that day on, the galaxy changed. The Wrathborn were gone, but the legend of Earth's final stand spread across the stars. Other alien races took notice, not of our weapons, but of our will, and they learned one truth: you can threaten Earth, but you will never escape their wrath. The end.